Trees, water, rock, adventure, and challenge are just a few of the words that I can think of to describe the trails here in the Haliburton Highlands. Now, over the last 3 days, we've been right in the middle of it, riding on top of the Canadian Shield, and we've got the skid plates to prove it, so let me tell you about it.
The Haliburton ATV Association is located on my favorite type of terrain, the Canadian Shield, which means rocks, mud, elevations, forests, and challenges. Plus, the over 1,700 kilometers that make up the HATVA is making the best use of these conditions. Stretching over the regions of Haliburton County, Muskoka, Madawaska, Kawartha, and Peterborough, the HATVA system can be easily accessed from all directions. And once your ATV tires hit the ground, you can ride to every service you can think of, or plan a saddlebag tour to try to take advantage of some of those 1,700 kilometers of trails linking the regions and towns of the system. We knew for our stay, which was for only 2 riding days, we wouldn't have much time to explore all the trails or do a saddlebag overnight tour, so we chose the Southwind Motel just outside Minden for our base of operations. From past rides and experiences in this area, we knew we'd be on the type of trails we were looking for within just a few kilometers of the motel. Plus, we were even pleasantly surprised by the trails Ray had built right on the Southwind property.
Canadian Shield has been beautiful here, and guys really like having somewhere to play. Customers that stay with me, I usually love to plan their days with them, meaning for the first, let's say they'll get here from work 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll tell them to play on my trails for the rest of the day till 9 when it gets a little dark, whatever. But then I'll plan the next day where they'll go over and they'll go down into Haliburton, or they'll go the other way towards Dorset, whatever. But I'll plan their whole event with them, so every day is different. For the ATV Association, the trail map system, but on there it actually indicates like extreme, meaning hard. When I talk to the guys, usually example, if they're here with their wife and she wants to be nice and easy, or he wants to be nasty, whatever. But if they're together on, let's say, a 2-up, then an easy one for her for the day would be like the rail trail, which is very simple. Straight down to Haliburton, then go down to McKeck's and have lunch, do whatever they want. Or if he wants to try something nasty, I've seen this, and he will leave her here and go out and try something like the Outhouse Run, which is just wicked. And the guys love that. So they're all over the place. To get people to come here, usually I'm pretty direct and open on the phone, usually how this happens. I usually just tell them if they are ready for the best time of their life, well then by all means come here.
Another piece of advice is to ask fellow riders or guys like Ray at the Southwind for suggestions on trail conditions or where to ride. This area boasts trails like Miserable Lake and Anson Mountain, so you need to be aware of your skills as a rider and seasonal changes which can make some trails unpassable.
Today we're just coming in from where we park our vehicles out on the hydro line. We picked up my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, and my sister-in-law, and we're heading back into our hunting camp just to spend a few days in here riding around and enjoying our lake. I've been in this area for probably 20 years riding now, and I do like it a lot. We just bought in the spring this year just so that we can bring other people in with us, just because it is a little bit more of a harder terrain to drive on, and you have to be a little bit more experienced to come into this area. Most of the area is covered with rock. There is a lot of mud also in the valleys and water, but the rock is very dominant in this area. The trails here, I've ridden in probably 10 different areas, and this here is definitely the best riding and most experienced riding I've ever done, ever.
The HATVA is a user-pay system where memberships can be purchased online through the HaliburtonATV.com website or at a number of partners along the trail. The benefits of a user-pay system means you have a group of community leaders taking an active role, making your ATV experience better through signed, mapped, and maintained trails. They are also working with local governments to ensure access to trails and municipal roadways. By supporting the HATVA membership program, you are making a difference in ensuring the longevity of the club and in your riding. For me, this is my type of riding with a great mix of challenges. It's not always about going fast and kicking up dust, but slowing down and navigating through obstacles. But don't let the type of challenges here turn you off of these trails. Many of the nastier obstacles have optional trails to take you on an easier path, but if you take your time and read the terrain, you will have a great sense of accomplishment when you complete a trail.
I've been coming up here for my entire life, basically. Family's been coming up here for about 45 years or so, and watched the terrain develop and ATVing as a sport grow up here, and it's definitely a place that I will keep coming back to for years to come. The type of terrain really can cater to whoever you plan your ride. You really benefit up here from planning your ride before you go out and just hitting a trail. You can kind of find anything that you're really looking for. I mean, we've got nice big mud holes if you just want to get covered in mud. We've got nice average trails that are just great for you to learn on, all the way down to a railway line, which is nice, straight, signed well, thanks to the snowmobile community. We've got stop sign approaching, different intersections, warnings, slows, all that kind of stuff. It's a really good learning trail, all the way up to some of the most extreme trails that I've ever ridden throughout Ontario. I mean, we've passed trails that personally myself I wouldn't even attempt, but you can see marks where some really experienced riders have. So depending on what you're looking for, if you plan your ride ahead of time, you can really find the trail that's going to suit you and your machine the best. The best thing about up here for volume of trails perspective, as well as access to the going back to the bylaw side of things and being able to ride on the roadways, not only is there endless amounts of, it seems like endless amounts of technical, difficult trails that really challenge the ability of your machine and what you're looking for, but at the same time, when you have tapped out one section or one area, what's really unique about up here is really awesome is you can hop on the roadway and look at the map provided by the Trail Association, get to the next spot and find an entirely new platform for you to kind of start from scratch and learn this trail all over again. So you never really end up bored. You can do a loop, say Anson Mountain, based out of Minden, and spend 2 hours, 3 hours getting up there and three more hours getting back home over the span of one day. And it really, when you get back home and look at the map, you've barely scratched the surface of what this place has to offer. And there's so many other loops, like the Miserable Lake Loop, for example, that you haven't even gone that direction yet, let alone touch some of those trails. So really, for guys just to come out one time and experience it, the best part about this is that they can come back again and again and keep finding new trails to challenge themselves on.
The list of experiences that can be had go well beyond the trails of the HATVA. With access to the towns along the system, we were able to travel into Tim Hortons on ATVs for breakfast, something you can't do just anywhere, or even a lunch of fish and chips in the town of Haliburton. Even after hours, when the ATVs are shut down for the day, there's local establishments close by where you can go for dinner, or a beverage, or maybe even something like radio bingo. Random, I know, but I had more fun than I care to admit, and will probably play again. Maybe. The HATVA has been, and still is, one of my favorite places to ride. It offers everything that's great about this part of Canada. The people, places, and trails will make your ride an exceptional experience, and I can guarantee that it will leave you wanting more.
They said they couldn't do this trail. Ha! Just get my right tire over there. That looks good. Perfect. Well, we've come to the end of our ride, but not the end of our riding opportunities here in the Haliburton Highlands. In fact, it feels like we're just scratching the surface. I mean, could you imagine this place in the fall with the fall colors in the maple trees? It'd just be gorgeous. Oh, well, there you go again. Haven't even finished this trip, and I'm already planning the next one. I guess I'm coming back. And over here. Oh, watch that rock. Oh, there's some Canadian Shield. Oh, missed it. Perfect. Excellent.